Space does not echo screams. But tonight, it remembers ours. Halcyon 5 burns in silence as the Vrax Dominion tears the human colony apart. Cities collapse into molten metal. Lifeboats are shot out of the sky. Families vanish in white fire. Out of the smoke, one figure rises, armor cracked, visor shattered. General Neha Khan, the last surviving commander. She forces a connection to the Vrax High Command. Their war room flickers with her blood-stained image. Her voice is steady. Too steady. You struck Earth first. You attacked our children, our homes, our future. You thought we'd kneel. She steps forward, flames raging behind her like wings. But now, humanity is coming for you. Across the galaxy, alien sensors tremble as an impossible signal appears. A fleet unlike anything humans have ever built. Engines burning with pentacore light. Hull plates engraved with a single mark. 5. The Retribution 5 Armada enters warp. Humanity isn't running anymore. Humanity is hunting. The first explosions came without warning. One moment Halcyon 5 was a peaceful mining colony humming through its orbital night cycle, the next, its eastern ridge lit up like a newborn star. The shockwave rolled across the settlement, shattering glass, tearing metal from its supports, and throwing sleeping civilians into the streets. General Neha Khan was already awake. She had felt something, a pressure in the air, a shift in the magnetic field, an instinct sharpened by decades of war. When the alarm screamed to life, she was already sprinting to the command balcony, fastening the last seals of her armor. Status, she barked. General, we're under assault. Lieutenant Morrow shouted over a haze of static. Unknown ships. They didn't hail, they didn't broadcast. They just opened fire. The colony shook again. Dust and sparks rained from above. Neha slammed her hand onto the holotable. The projection flickered, struggling to resolve through the interference, until the truth became horrible and clear. A fleet of angular, crimson-burning vessels circled Halcyon 5 like vultures. The Vrax Dominion. A species humans had only encountered twice, briefly, cautiously, diplomatically. Both times the Dominion had warned the Alliance. Your kind expands too fast. You must be contained. Humans took it as a political stance. Tonight proved it was a threat. Another explosion rocked the colony. A distant tower snapped in half and collapsed into the central district. Screams echoed through the comms, dozens at first, then hundreds, overlapping until the channel became a single agonized roar. General, Morrow whispered, they're targeting escape routes. They're not trying to capture us. Neha's jaw tightened. They were trying to erase them. All security teams, deploy, she ordered. Divert power to shields. Evaluate civilians to the subsurface hangars, now. No exceptions. Her officers scattered. Neha turned toward the balcony overlooking the colony. Fires raged across the surface like bleeding veins. Dropships crashed in spirals of flame. The air shimmered with the heat of orbital bombardment. This wasn't war. This was extermination. As she watched, a Dominion destroyer descended lower, its plasma cannons glowing from the energy it was charging. It aimed directly at the residential district, where thousands were still trapped. Not on my watch, Neha growled. She sprinted to the rail, activated her jump thrusters, and launched herself across the gap to the outer platform. The wind screamed around her as she landed hard, knelt, and raised her arm cannon. A single soldier, on a burning colony, aiming at a ship the size of a skyscraper. But Neha Khan had never cared about odds. Her cannon fired. A streak of blue-white ion energy lanced upward, slamming into the destroyer's underbelly. The blast didn't destroy it, of course it didn't, but it staggered the ship, knocking its cannon off target long enough for the evacuation teams below to push through a collapsed corridor. Target redirected, her HUD reported. She exhaled. Good enough. Then the counterfire came. A beam of molten crimson tore across the cliffside, impacting the platform she stood on. Metal ruptured like paper. Neha was thrown backward, armor screaming warnings, ground vanishing beneath her. She hit a lower walkway hard, rolling until she caught herself. Pain blossomed through her ribs. Warning lights strobed in her helmet. She forced herself up. There was no time to hurt. General Khan. The voice came from Captain Lyra, breathless. They've breached the hangars. We're losing civilians. Neha's heartbeat hammered in her ears. She looked around at the burning colony, the broken streets, the falling towers, the desperate screams. For a split second, she felt something dangerous. Helplessness. But then another feeling rose, hotter, sharper. Defiance. Open the emergency channel, she said. General, it's not safe. Do it. The comms crackled as a direct link to the Vrax flagship formed. A shadowy chamber appeared, a Vrax command dais lit by sickly ultraviolet flame. Their officers stared, four-eyed and cold. Neha stood tall, armor scorched, visor cracked, blood running in a thin line across her cheek. Her voice did not tremble. You struck Earth first. The Vrax commander hissed something unknown, but she talked over him. You attacked our colony. Our families. Our future. The fires behind her flared brighter, reflecting in her eyes. You think humanity will break. A beat. A breath. A promise. But now, humanity is coming for you. She cut the channel. And as Halcyon 5 burned around her, General Neha Khan rose to her feet, lifted her weapon, and led the last survivors into the fight. The transmission from Halcyon 5 replayed across the Earth Alliance war chamber like a wound that refused to close. The room, normally a cathedral of comm strategy, was tense, electric, suffocating. Dozens of representatives from Earth, Mars, Titan, Luna, and the Jovian colonies sat in their levitating seats, arranged in a 5-point star around the central holotable. At the center floated the last message from General Neha Khan. Her words, "Humanity is coming for you," echoed through the chamber even after the recording ended. Silence followed. A silence heavy with shock, rage, and fear. Admiral Yusef Grant, Earth's senior military commander, finally spoke. His voice was gravel. Halcyon 5 is gone. A ripple of horror swept through the assembly. Casualties? Asked Chancellor Morrell from the Lunar Confederacy. Grant hesitated. 98%. Gasps. Curses. A Martian senator slammed his fist on his console so hard the lights flickered. The Jovian representative, a calm old man named Oren Vale, leaned forward. And the survivors? Grant changed the holofeed. General Neha appeared, armor scorched, face bruised, fury burning behind her eyes. Footage captured from her exo-suit helmet feed showed the colony collapsing behind her, civilians running under falling debris, explosions cutting through the night. She's alive, someone whispered. Barely, Grant replied. Evacuation ships recovered her and 213 survivors. Halcyon 5 held a population of 27,000. The room fell into another suffocating silence. Then came the political voices. This is an act of war. We need retaliation. We can't fight the Dominion, their tech is centuries ahead. Nonsense. Humanity must strike back. We don't even know the Vrax motive. We do, Grant cut in sharply. He switched the feed again. Encrypted intelligence logs from Halcyon 5 flickered to life. Alien signals translated, broken lines of intercepted communications, cold, clinical orders from the Vrax High Council. Neutralize the Earthborn before their expansion becomes irreversible. Contain the species before they replicate beyond manageable thresholds. They are adaptive. Dangerous. Every line hit like a pulse bomb. The Vrax didn't want resources. They didn't want territory. They wanted humans destroyed. Containment? Senator Eli Draven from Mars spat. They call genocide containment? Grant folded his arms. To them, we're a future threat. A species that spreads fast. Too fast. Ambassador Lyra Keed, representing Titan, exhaled slowly. We always believed we were insignificant on the galactic scale. Senator Draven replied, apparently we are frightening. The war chamber dimmed as the central table brightened. A new projection emerged, a 5-branched formation of warships, sleek, angular, heavily armored, prototype designs that had been shelved for budget reasons. Until tonight. Admiral Grant spoke with the authority of a man who had already accepted what the room had not yet dared to say aloud. We propose an unprecedented coalition, he declared. 5 human powers. 1 unified response. Earth. Mars. Titan. Luna. Jovian frontier. 5 worlds. 5 fleets. 1 purpose. To survive. Chancellor Morel frowned. This will cost lives. And resources we may not have. Oren Vale spoke quietly, but his voice reached every corner of the room. If we do nothing, we lose everything. The debate continued, tension, fear, defiance all clashing like weapons. But slowly, painfully, minds shifted. Humanity had faced extinction before, plagues, wars, near collapses. Every time, they had risen. Why should the galaxy be any different? Finally, the vote screen appeared. 5 columns. 5 powers. 5 decisions. One by one, they lit up. Earth, yes. Mars, yes. Titan, yes. Luna, yes. Jovian colonies, yes. Unanimous. The room erupted, not in cheers, but in a kind of grim, iron resolve. Admiral Grant turned to the hollow of the fleet again. Then it begins. He selected the flagship design. A colossal vessel, bristling with weapons and experimental tech, thrusters built around the new pentacore drive, humanity's fastest engine. Its name pulsed across the table in white light. Retribution 5. Gasps whispered through the chamber. Grant finished softly. General Neha Khan will lead the retaliation. Humanity will strike back not as scattered planets, but as one species. He let the moment settle. Prepare the 5th Division. Prepare the Armada. The Dominion wanted containment. His eyes hardened. But they will learn what it means to provoke Earth. Outside the war chamber, sirens echoed across the Alliance network. Factories ignited. Dockyards lit up. Troop barracks roared awake. Humanity wasn't retreating. Humanity was mobilizing. The Titan military forge was a world that never slept. It hovered above Saturn's moon like a floating fortress, 10 kilometers of steel, reactors, and training chambers built for one purpose, to turn ordinary humans into weapons. This was where the 5th Division would be born. General Neha Khan stepped out of the dropship onto the forge's central walkway, her boots clicking against the reinforced alloy plates. The atmosphere here was sterile, metallic, vibrating with the hum of reactors. Rows of soldiers, Earthborn, Mars-bred, Titan-engineered, stood at attention. They were the best humanity had to offer. Veterans, prodigies, ex-special forces, rogue geniuses, and some who simply refused to die. As Neha approached, the assembled soldiers slammed their fists to their chests in salute. "Ma'am." Neha scanned their faces. Young. Tough. Hungry. But not ready, not for what was coming. "You are the 5th Division," she began, her voice echoing across the chamber, amplified by the steel walls. "Chosen not because you're strong, but because you endure." She paced slowly. "The Vrax Dominion believes humanity is fragile." A faint ripple of anger moved through the ranks. "So we will show them what humans become when we're cornered." The 5th Division's first test was the Taurus Arena, a vast rotating ring of gravity shift corridors. "0G on," the instructor shouted. The arena lurched. Gravity collapsed beneath them. Dozens of soldiers flailed, spinning wildly, struggling to stabilize. But not Neha. She moved like a spear, controlled, precise, pushing off the walls in rhythmic bursts. "Balance," she shouted. "Control the spin. Breathe with the motion." Some soldiers crashed into walls. One vomited. Another floated upside down, confused. Neha pointed to him. "Private, rotate your hips, not your legs." The soldier corrected himself and finally stopped spinning. Neha nodded. "Good. Survival is adaptation." After 0G came exo-suit drills. The soldiers lined up before racks of matte black armor, sleek, angular, designed for raw efficiency. The Mark V Phoenix exo-suit, built for the 5th Division specifically. "Suit up," Neha ordered. The armor sealed around them with hydraulic hisses. Their vision HUDs flickered to life. Neha paced again, voice low and sharp. "Your suit amplifies your strength. Your reflexes. Your speed." She stopped. "But it won't save you." The soldiers stiffened. "You save yourself," she finished. Then she activated the combat drones. Dozens of metallic spheres dropped from the ceiling and burst open, revealing spinning, armed machines with pulse cannons. The soldiers scrambled. Bolts of plasma filled the air. "Take cover," someone shouted. Neha stood firm, hands behind her back, watching her soldiers stumble, adapt, learn. A Martian trooper vaulted over a barrier and shot down a drone. A Titan-born recruit used brute force to punch one out of the air. A Jovian lightgraph soldier zigzagged through fire with acrobatic grace. Humans weren't perfect. But they were unpredictable. Resourceful. Relentless. Neha smiled. The next chamber was dark. Silent. Cold. The walls pulsed with shifting images, fear triggers, memory traps, illusions generated by neural link tech. Vrax weapons often used psychic pressure. Humans needed to resist it. "Step inside," Neha commanded. The soldiers hesitated. Inside, each recruit faced their deepest nightmare. One saw his childhood home burning. Another heard the voice of a lost mother. A third relived being trapped under rubble for 3 days. Screams echoed. Some broke down. Most endured. A few emerged stronger. Neha entered last, alone. Her illusion was immediate. Halcyon 5, burning again. Her soldiers dying. Her people screaming for help she couldn't give. Her chest tightened. She clenched her jaw. "Not real," she whispered. "Not again." The illusion shattered. She walked back out, calm. The final part of training wasn't physical, it was a revelation. The 5th Division gathered in the Forge's hangar as a massive engine core descended from the ceiling, glowing with blue and violet arcs of unstable power. Engineers in hazard suits swarmed around it. Admiral Grant appeared beside Neha. "This is the Pentacore drive," he announced. "Humanity's first engine capable of exceeding the speed of light by a factor of 5. Gasps filled the room. "One jump from this," Grant continued, "and you can cross 100 light-years in minutes." A soldier raised his hand. "Sir, is it stable?" Grant paused. "Probably." Nervous whispers. Neha raised her chin. "It doesn't matter. We don't win by playing safe." She turned to her soldiers. "You are the 5th Division. The sharpest blade humanity has ever forged. Your mission begins soon. The Dominion thinks they know us." Her voice became a battle cry. "We will teach them to fear the species that refuses to die." The soldiers roared. The 5th Division was born. And war was coming. The Void Gate hung in space like a wound carved into reality. A swirling ring of black alloy and violet gravitational storms. It was one of the Vrax Dominion's most guarded structures. A gateway that allowed their fleets to leap across galaxies in seconds. A fortress no species had ever dared to attack. Until today. The Retribution 5 Armada emerged from hyperspace in a storm of light. Dozens of human battleships, destroyers, gunships, and carriers glided into position. Their hulls gleamed with the midnight sheen of fresh forged armor. Inside the flagship bridge, General Neha Khan stood at the command dais, eyes locked on the Void Gate's massive structure. Admiral Grant's voice filled the speakers. All fleets, check in. Earth Fleet, standing by. Martian Iron Legion, weapons hot. Titan Storm Guard, engine steady. Lunar Spear Forces, awaiting targets. Jovian Shadow Wing, ghosts ready. 5 fleets. 1 armada. Neha exhaled slowly, centering herself. We strike fast. We strike hard. And we strike first. The bridge crew nodded, tension electric. 5th Division, she commanded, prepare for deployment. A chorus of voices crackled back through commas. Ready. On the other side of the gate, Vrax sensors lit up. Admiral Zyroth rose from his throne of obsidian alloy, for eyes narrowing as he studied the incoming signatures. This cannot be correct, he hissed. The human fleet was larger than anticipated. More coordinated. More heavily armed. A young Vrax officer trembled. Admiral, they are charging weapons. Zyroth bared his fangs. So. The Earthborn seek revenge. He leaned forward, mandibles clicking. Prepare counterfire. Bring me their commander's head. The Void Gate opened with a crackling surge of energy. Vrax warships poured out, sleek, jagged, thrice-shielded, blazing with plasma fire. The space between the fleets ignited into a battlefield of chaos. All ships, engage. Neha roared. Human destroyers unleashed volleys of railgun fire. Martian dreadnoughts fired particle lances that cut through Vrax shields like molten knives. Lunar spearcraft wove between enemy cruisers, dropping EMP charges that disabled targeting arrays. The Void Gate became a storm of white and crimson light. Inside the flagship, Neha steadied herself as the ship trembled. Status, she demanded. Shields at 84%. Forward batteries reloading. Vrax fighters incoming, closing fast. Neha turned to her comms officer. Send the 5th Division. The officer's eyes widened. Ma'am, direct insertion? Neha nodded. Put boots on the hull of the gate. We take it from the outside. The drop bay opened. Rows of 5th Division soldiers stood ready in their Mark V exo-suits, helmets sealed, weapons locked. Magnetic boots hummed against the deck. Neha walked in front of them, helmet under her arm. You are human, she shouted over the thunder of distant explosions, but today you fight like something more. The soldiers slammed their fists to their chests. Neha sealed her helmet, voice now metallic through the suit speakers. Drop. The floor split apart. A dozen pods shot out into open space, streaking toward the Void Gate like burning meteors. As they approached, the pods exploded outward, unfolding into wings and retrothrusters. The 5th Division landed on the gate's outer ring with thunderous metallic impacts, magnetic boots locking them in place. Immediately, Vrax drones swarmed them. Neha drew her plasma-etched blade. Spread out. Cut through to the core. The soldiers charged. The surface of the Void Gate was chaos. Vrax defense drones fired rapid pulses of ultraviolet plasma. 5th Division troopers darted between blasts, their exosuits turning them into blurs of motion. Every impact echoed through the void like muted thunder. A Jovian soldier leaped 20 meters in one bound, landing on a drone and ripping out its power core. A Titan-born brute tackled a spider-like Vrax mech, smashing its limbs with augmented strength. Neha herself was unstoppable. She carved through a cluster of drones, blade slicing them cleanly in half. Their metallic husks drifted away into space. General, her lieutenant shouted, we're nearing the gate's power node. Then move faster. On the Vrax flagship, Zyroth watched the human assault with growing unease. These creatures, they adapt. He narrowed his eyes. They must be crushed before they learn too much. He activated a direct link to the void gate. Overload the outer rings. Detonate the surface grids. A Vrax technician hesitated. But sir, our soldiers are still. Do it. Xyroth roared. The technician obeyed. The gate's surface began to glow. Panels cracked open. Energy crackled violently across the hull. The 5th Division froze for a moment. General, what is that? A soldier shouted. Neha's HUD analyzed the readings. Her blood ran cold. It's a charge, she whispered. A self-destruct, on the hull. The gate shuddered. A pulse of death raced across the ring like a tidal wave of burning light. Neha's voice exploded through the comms. Jump! Move! Now! 5th Division soldiers launched themselves off the hull just as the energy wave slammed into the surface, ripping plating apart, vaporizing drones, obliterating everything in its path. The blast hurled Neha into open space. Her visor cracked. Her oxygen alarm screamed. She spiraled wildly, helpless. Until a soldier grabbed her arm, stabilizing her. Got you, General. She gasped, catching her breath. Form up. Don't break formation. Behind them, the void gate shook violently, but it still stood. Damaged. Scorched. But intact. The humans had survived the trap. And now they were angry. Neha's voice was low. Deadly. Admiral Xyroth, you tried to kill my people twice today. She raised her blade. Third time won't be lucky for you. The 5th Division roared. The battle wasn't over. It had only just begun. The Retribution 5 Armada floated in low-power orbit, undergoing emergency repairs after the brutal battle at the Void Gate. Hull plates glowed from fresh welds. Medical bays overflowed. Fighters returned in pieces, or didn't return at all. Yet despite the losses, morale was high. Humans had hurt the Dominion. They had matched an empire thought to be invincible. For the first time, the galaxy trembled at the idea. Humanity can win. But they didn't know. The Dominion was not finished. Not even close. General Neha Khan stood alone in the observation deck, her armor stripped away, wearing only a simple combat uniform. The stars outside drifted by like silent witnesses. Her ribs were bruised. Her right shoulder burned every time she moved. Her visor crack still haunted her peripheral vision. But what hurt the most were the names. She pulled up her holoslate. 5th Division Lucia. Lieutenant Rafe Mendel. Corporal Juno Reyes. Sergeant Hailvar. Private Leanne Foster. And many more. Neha read each name aloud, her voice quiet, steady, breaking only once. These were good people, she whispered. They trusted me. The door slid open. Admiral Grant stepped inside. You blame yourself, he said. Neha didn't turn. They died following my lead. That's what soldiers do, Grant replied. And you gave them a chance to fight back. That's more than the Dominion ever offered them. Neha wiped a hand across her eyes. I'm not done. Not until the Dominion pays for every life they stole. Grant nodded. Then steel yourself. Because intel suggests the Vrax aren't retreating. Neha finally turned toward him. What do you mean? Grant touched his wristband. The lights in the deck dimmed. A hollow projection appeared, Vrax fleet signatures, dozens of them, converging on the Retribution 5 Armada. Neha stared. A cold dread crept into her spine. That's not a counterattack, she whispered. That's a purge. Moments later, the fleet alarms shattered the silence. Incoming hyperspace signatures, multiple. Distance, short. Size, massive. The bridge erupted with frantic movement. General to the command deck. Enemy formations emerging. They're dropping out of hyperspace right on top of us. Shields charging, only at 47%. Neha sprinted through the corridors, adrenaline drowning out the pain. She burst onto the bridge as the stars outside bent and twisted. And then the Dominion materialized in a storm of red-white distortion. Dozens of Vrax warships. Heavy cruisers. Planet killers. Assault carriers. A whole armada, sent not to fight but to obliterate. Admiral Zyrotha's voice blasted through the comms, dripping with venom. Earthborn, you defy extinction. So now, extinction comes to you. Neha's fists tightened. Battle stations, she shouted. All ships, defensive formation Delta 5. The fleet scrambled. But it wasn't enough. Not this time. The Vrax didn't open with weapons. They opened with gravity traps. From multiple ships, glowing spheres launched and detonated around the Retribution 5 Armada. Space warped violently, dragging human ships off course like leaves in a whirlpool. Stabilizers failing. We're being pulled apart. Thruster control compromised. Neha's eyes widened. Reverse polarity. Cut engine power, they're using our propulsion against us. But it was too late. A Martian dreadnought collided with a Jovian frigate, both ships erupting in fire. A Titan gunship was crushed between two collapsing gravity wells. A lunar carrier split in half, its sections drifting apart like broken bones. And then the Vrax opened fire. Plasma beams slashed through the battlefield. Human ships ruptured. Scores of soldiers were lost in the first minute alone. Neha gripped the railing. Give me the 5th Division. Ma'am, they're already deploying. On the hangar deck, 5th Division exo-soldiers scrambled into formation. Seal your suits. Mag boots on. We're jumping straight into hell. Commander Ilya Strout saluted Neha through the cam feed. General, we're ready. Neha nodded. Move. The 5th Division launched into space, landing on the hulls of enemy cruisers, unleashing shock grenades and plasma charges. They fought like demons, fast, precise, relentless. A Titan trooper ripped open the hull plating of a Vrax fighter. A Martian sniper took out gunners through microscopic cracks. A lunar commando used her suit boosters to kick off one hull and land on another, firing nonstop. Humans fought like a species with nothing left to lose. But the Vrax had numbers, weapons, and no hesitation. One by one, 5th Division soldiers fell. Neha's heart cracked with each loss. A deafening explosion rocked the bridge. Special Operations Bay hit. 5th Division casualties rising fast. We can't hold them, General. Neha felt a punch in her chest. Pull them back, she ordered. All 5th Division units, retreat and regroup at Rally Node 5. A static-filled voice came through. General, this is Stroud. We can't reach the node. The corridor's gone. The bulkhead collapsed. We're trapped. Neha froze. Stroud, hold your position. I'll send a retrieval unit. Another explosion. Screams. Static. Then silence. Neha's breath broke. Her hands trembled. General, Admiral Grant said quietly, there's nothing you could have done. Neha swallowed hard. But inside, a storm was building. A storm made of grief, fury, and vengeance. The Dominion pressed in, ships closing like jaws. It seemed the Armada would fall. But Neha straightened. Her voice turned to steel. Set course 5 Alpha. Grant blinked. That'll take us directly toward Vrax Prime. Good, Neha said coldly. Let them think they're driving us away. We're not retreating. She turned toward the stars ahead. We're going straight to the heart of their empire. The bridge crew stared. She finished. Prepare for the final assault. Humanity will not die in orbit. We finished this on Vrax Prime. The Retribution 5 Armada surged forward. Wounded. Bleeding. but unbroken. The Dominion thought they had one. They had no idea what was coming. Vrax Prime was not a world. It was a weapon. A colossal crimson planet streaked with black iron mountains, fortress cities, and defense towers that pierced the clouds like daggers. Lightning storms crackled across its surface, not natural, but engineered. The Dominion had shaped this world to be uninvadable. No army had ever reached its surface. No enemy ship had ever pierced its defenses. Until now. The Retribution 5 Armada burst from hyperspace in a flash of blue fire, engines screaming, shields cracked and flickering. The ships were scarred, leaking atmosphere, burning from a dozen wounds. But they were alive. And they were angry. General Neha Khan stood on the bridge, armor reassembled, helmet under her arm, eyes locked onto the burning red sphere ahead. "This is it," she said quietly. "Humanity's last stand, or their first victory." Admiral Grant nodded grimly. "Fleet status?" "Bad," the officer replied. "But Vrax won't expect us to charge while this damaged. It buys us one shot." Neha smiled, a cold, lethal smile. "Then we make it count." As the Armada approached, Vrax Prime awoke. Defense towers activated first, massive cannons that hurled beams of plasma through space like spears of white fire. Orbital platforms rotated into place, unleashing swarms of automated fighters. Planetary shields shimmered to life, forming a glowing barrier of energy. The sky itself seemed to scream. "Brace!" Grant shouted. "Incoming barrage!" The fleet shook violently. Explosions rippled across hulls. A Jovian destroyer burst apart in a ball of flame. A Martian gunship split open, spilling fire and debris. But they kept going. Neha gripped the railing. "Focus power on forward shields. Route everything else to weapons. You'll overload the reactors," an officer warned. Neha's voice was ice. "We either overload, or we die." The officer swallowed. "Aye, ma'am." The Retribution 5 surged forward like a wounded animal refusing to collapse. As they neared the upper atmosphere, Neha turned to the soldiers gathered in the drop bay, what remained of the once mighty 5th Division. Only 50 were left. They stood in scorched armor, carrying weapons too heavy for normal humans, breathing harshly through cracked visors. But their eyes burned with fire. Neha stepped in front of them. "This is not a mission," she said. "This is justice." She paced slowly. "They took our worlds. They hunted our people. They tried to erase us." Her voice sharpened. "They struck Earth first." She put on her helmet. "Now we strike last." The dropship doors opened, and the burning atmosphere of Vrax Prime roared in. The 5th Division roared back. "For Earth." And they jumped. The drop was chaos. Flak shells screamed upward. Energy bolts shredded the sky. Explosions lit the clouds with blinding light. Troopers fell like black comets, their armor heating to white-hot streaks. Neha accelerated, slicing through fire and smoke, HUD screaming warnings. Heat levels critical. Armor integrity 62%. Velocity unsafe. She ignored all of it. Her boots smashed into the ground, shattering a Dominion battle platform beneath her. The rest of the 5th Division hit moments later, slamming into towers, walkways, enemy trenches. And they fought instantly. A Vrax warrior lunged with a plasma blade, Stroud's second in command shot him midair. A squad of Dominion soldiers fired from a ridge, 3 humans flanked them using booster jumps, cutting them down. 2 soldiers went down in the first minute, but took a dozen Vrax with them. This wasn't a landing. It was an execution. The target was the Dominion Ural Citadel, the heart of Vrax Prime, where Admiral Zyroth and the ruling council commanded the entire empire. A fortress of black stone and blood-red energy barriers, surrounded by legions of soldiers. Neha pointed at it. "There." A Titan trooper shook his head. "How do we get in?" Neha looked at the swirling storm clouds above. We fly. She activated her suit's jump jets. The 5th Division blasted upward, weaving between anti-air fire, dodging missiles, pushing through debris. A Vrax heavy flyer roared toward them. Neha landed on it. She plunged her blade into its cockpit. The flyer spiraled. Neha leapt off moments before it exploded. The citadel loomed ahead. The gate opened. An army poured out. Thousands of Vrax. War machines. Mechs. Mounted beasts with plasma teeth. Neha's voice boomed across the battlefield. Hold the line. The 5th Division formed up. A tiny human wall against a tidal wave of alien power. The Vrax charged. And humanity charged back. The battle was a blur of motion, sound, and fury. A Martian soldier tackled a Vrax captain off a cliff. A lunar commando hijacked a mech and turned its guns on its own troops. Titan troopers smashed through armor with brute force. And Neha was a storm. She fought through soldiers, slicing through armor, blasting through shields, tearing through everything between her and the citadel. Bodies fell around her. Explosions shook the ground. Screams echoed. But she didn't stop. Couldn't stop. Not yet. A massive Vrax juggernaut blocked her path, towering 3 stories high, armed with a tricannon. It fired. She dodged, barely. The shockwave sent soldiers flying. Neha sprinted up a rubble slope, leapt, landed on the juggernaut's shoulder, and ripped open its armor with her bare hands. The machine collapsed in a deafening crash. Her visor cracked. Her shoulder bled again. But the path was clear. The citadel doors stared at her. Waiting. Inside the throne chamber, Admiral Zyroth stood tall, armor gleaming, for eyes burning with hatred. So, he hissed, the fragile species reaches my doorstep. Neha stepped forward, helmet sparking, armor scarred. You attacked my world. You were weak. You slaughtered my people. You were prey. Neha raised her blade. Not anymore. They clashed. Zyroth moved like a serpent, fast, precise. Neha moved like fire, furious, unstoppable. He struck her ribs. She struck his jaw. He stabbed her shoulder. She smashed her blade into his chest. He knocked her down. She got back up. Every strike echoed the pain of humanity, every loss, every burned world, every fallen soldier. Finally, Neha seized Zyroth by the throat, lifting him off the ground. You should have finished us when you had the chance. His eyes widened. She drove her blade through his heart. The Dominion's supreme commander fell. And with him, their empire began to collapse. Outside, Dominion forces faltered. Their communications died. Their coordination shattered. Their morale broke. The 5th Division raised their fists in victory. General Neha Khan stepped out of the citadel, battered, bleeding, but unbowed. Status? She asked. Grant's voice crackled through the comm. Vrax Prime defenses collapsing. The planet is ours. Neha breathed out slowly. It was over. For the first time in history, humanity had defeated an empire. She looked at the burning horizon, remembering those who had fallen. This is for all of you, she whispered. And the galaxy changed forever.